Tim Burton is a very interesting filmmaker with a very unique style. Sometimes it works, but most times it doesn't. My opinion is very different compared to a lot of film fans. I like some of his live-action stuff like his Alice in Wonderland, his Dumbo remake, Edward Scissorhands, and a bit of his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But most of his stuff doesn't do it for me. Miss Peregrine, Sleepy Hollow, and even some of his animated stuff like Corpse Bride and especially Nightmare Before Christmas I find not so great. So he's not my favorite filmmaker, but at the same time when he hits a home run it goes far. And today we are going to be talking about a film that nobody talks about but is absolutely worthy of all the praise and recognition his other work gets, and that film is Frankenweenie, the last stop-motion film Tim Burton has ever done, based on a short of the same name. This movie is oozing with Tim's dark twisted creativity combined with an amazing amount of heart and humor. It got great reviews from critics and audiences but didn't really do that great at the box office, making a little over $81 million. There are a few reasons for this underperformance. It came out against another Halloween-themed movie in Hotel Transylvania, which made far more money at the box office and spawned a billion-dollar franchise. It came out at a time when stop-motion was practically dead as a theatrical medium, and it kinda got overshadowed by another stop-motion film that year, Paranorman, which is far more remembered than this movie, still being discussed and analyzed by so many film fans and animation fans, some of which consider to be one of the best stop-motion films of all time, while Frankenweenie has mostly been forgotten. But this movie was so much better than people give it credit for. So today let's talk about Frankenweenie, Tim Burton's forgotten masterpiece. Now the story is the same as the short of the same name. A boy loses his dog and is grieving hard for him that he eventually brings him back to life by zapping him with electricity via lightning. He does come back to life, but now he must keep him a secret from everybody in fear they'll hurt him. While it's not the most original plot out there, it really makes up for it with the execution. The way the story plays out is very engaging and interesting. There are many hilarious moments, emotional moments, a lot of dark moments, but the movie balances them all out to make a satisfying and extremely enjoyable experience. The characters make the movie very likable as well. The main character Victor isn't anything new, but his determination and passion for science is very inspiring, and the film does a great job at fleshing out his character and making his situation relatable to a lot of people, and his relationship with Frankenweenie himself Sparky is heartfelt and very emotional. They are the heart of the film, and you feel for Victor when he loses Sparky both times, and you really understand why Victor was so eager to bring him back. You felt how close they were and how strong their relationship was. As for the other characters, they're not as memorable but they do their job fine. My favorite character from the movie is the teacher. This is his name. I don't know how to pronounce it properly here. You'd think that he would just be a typical teacher character that doesn't really serve that much to the plot, but he actually has a heart-to-heart with Victor and gives him some really good advice. Science is not just in the brain but also in the heart, and science isn't good or bad, but it can be used for both. He doesn't have a lot of scenes, but he makes a great impact with the little time he has in the movie. As for the parents, they are okay, like I said, nothing new, but they do their job in the movie. They're a good moral compass for Victor and do teach him good lessons, but as characters they're not that memorable. I honestly forgot they were in the movie and they're the friggin' parents. That's how forgettable they are. As for the other characters like Victor's crush Elsa Van Helsing, she's okay. She doesn't really have that big a role in the movie outside of being a potential love interest for Victor. She comforts him when he's down, but outside of that she doesn't really add a lot to the movie. You could honestly write her out and nothing would change. Burgermeister is a generic antagonist besides his name being a nod to the classic Rankin-Bass villain from the special Santa Claus is Coming to Town. There's honestly nothing memorable about him. He's just your typical asshole character who hates the main character and is there just to add some extra conflict to the movie. The other kids who copy Victor's experiment are honestly just okay as well. They're honestly just there. Like all the other characters, they do their job but they're not memorable. What are memorable, though, are the monsters that they create, like the giant dinosaur turtle, the sea monkeys and the bat cat. They are all very creative, scary and make the movie an epic blockbuster. The animation is amazing. As much as I don't like most of Tim Burton's other films, his visuals are always top-notch, and this one is no different. I'm not a fan of the style, but it really works for this one. It can be smooth and fluent when it needs to be and slow and janky when it needs to be. And this was a very special film, since this is Tim Burton's last stop-motion film he ever made, and this came out at a time when the style was very rare, especially on the big screen. It's also very special, because it's an homage to classic monster movies like King Kong and Godzilla. and the animation really brings that to life and captures it perfectly. It's a shame we don't get any more stop-motion films like this, but if this is Tim Finn's stop-motion film, then he went out with a bang. As for the music, it fits the tone of the film perfectly. It can get really emotional when it needs to, like when Victor thinks his experiment failed and Sparky is gone for good, or really spooky and chilling when the kids bring the monsters to life. The score of a film is always important, and this movie's tracks are just the right amount of whimsical, emotional and horrifying to elevate this monstrous epic. So overall guys, Frankenweenie is an extremely enjoyable film. It's not perfect and it's definitely not one of my favorite films, and not one I watch often, but it is a really good film with a lot of heart, a lot of spooks and a fantastic climax. If you need something to follow up your yearly rewatch of Nightmare Before Christmas and Corpse Bride, or just want a good movie to watch during the Halloween season, then I highly recommend this forgotten gem of a unique and creative animation style. It's not perfect, but it's very enjoyable, and certainly worth at least one watch. You'll most likely come out loving at least part of it. So anyways guys, what do you think of Frankenweenie, Tim Burton's forgotten masterpiece? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you guys later.